Well, from Women's Aid's perspective, we've been in existence since 1974. And one of the things that we know from the thousands and thousands of women that we've supported over time is that economic abuse, in addition to just the impact of somebody being subjected to coercive controlling behavior, can have a very, very significant impact on somebody who is abused and is in employment. And we know that the consequences often can be either to take economic control of their means, but actually where you're talking about coercive control, sometimes the object is to completely isolate the person. So that would be to create a set of circumstances which feel so difficult to maintain one's employment that we would have women would give up work. And then, of course, they fall into an economic trap. And the other thing that I think is very interesting is that research shows us that when somebody is subjected to domestic violence, of the top 4 people who they might disclose to, and many will disclose to none, the 4th is their employer. And the reason for that is because the consequences can be that they may be reporting sick, or their performance, they may be aware that it's suffering. And so at the same time, with the level of stigma that sadly still persists in relation to those who are subjected to domestic violence and abuse, an employer having a policy, an explicit policy that actually sets out how they will recognize and how they will respond to and how they will assist somebody who is an employee who is subjected to abuse, it pivots the pressure that a woman can feel, both from her abuser and then also from her employer, who maybe they feel legitimately questioning her performance. And instead it creates a scenario where the employer then becomes the ally and the support, and that has very, very clear tangible benefits to the employer as well. That's about, creating a workplace which respects dignity, which validates that 1 in 4 women experience abuse. Therefore, depending on the proportion of your workforce who's female, you will have women there who are subjected to it. A smaller number of men will also suffer abuse, but the policy equally would be there to assist them. It can also create a context in which then somebody can actually perhaps avail of paid leave, which is something we would strongly advocate. It's something that may come on track as a statutory entitlement, hopefully soon. But in the meantime, we encourage employers to adopt it as a matter of good practice with a policy. And that can be an opportunity to allow somebody where their abuser may think that they are in work to do things that wouldn't fall under the normal remit of things like force majeure or sick leave. That could be to go to a solicitor's appointment. It could be to go see a specialist domestic violence service. And at the same time, they can do so safely because their abuser believes them to be at work. It also allows for a support to people managers in terms of risk assessment as well, because if somebody is being targeted in their workplace, sometimes that creates a safety risk for that person. It can allow for creative, collaborative workarounds in terms of where somebody might be working, perhaps the hours they work, if there's security on the door, allowing discreet vigilance to make sure that they're safe leaving. And it also protects the safety potentially of other staff who may be targeted. You think of reception staff, things like that, if you have a particularly dangerous offender. So again, it creates an ally, it creates a community in support of valued employees, and all of the data coming out of other environments where they have adopted those would indicate that creates a more attractive workplace, a safer workplace, and also then would enhance the productivity and critically support somebody to maintain employment, where the risks and consequences if they either step away from their job or lose their job could be catastrophic.